the NBA playoffs, you know what I mean? So let's just hop right into that and get that out of the way. So starting with the Western Conference, it feels like it's been forever, but the Nuggets, of course, have taken that 2-0 lead on the Phoenix Suns. I think the last time I had a podcast, no, last time I had a podcast, I think we're just getting ready to start this series. So I'm excited to say the Nuggets have been playing great against the Suns. Man, the Suns are kind of proving that they can't just win with two high caliber superstars. You know what I mean? They have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker just out there averaging like 27, 28 points a game. Last series, Devin Booker averaged 37 against the Clippers, but the Clippers were injured. You know what I mean? But their two best players weren't even in the game. The best player that they had on the court was Russell Westbrook and Norman Powell. So it wasn't really a good measuring stick to what the playoffs has to offer for those two. But now, since they're playing Denver, a more complete team, a lot more players on the team can go out there and guard, or just not even like stick them and shut them down, but just cause them trouble and make them have to work a little bit harder on the Nuggets. You got the Bruce Browns of the world, the Christian Browns of the world, KCPs of the world, Aaron Gordon. Anybody can just step up and get in their way, and we have multiple people to do it. Jeff Green, just in case somebody gets in foul trouble. You know, you have a bunch of people that get in their heads and get angry at them, or get them angry and frustrated with their games. If you have them two players that actually have been injured this season, if you have them playing high minutes like you have every game, like 44 or 45 minutes and shit like that, to try to sustain a lead or like to stay in the game basically, because the first couple of games have relatively been blowouts because their bench doesn't give them anything. They don't have a bench after trading for Kevin Durant. So it's hard for them to, after Denver kind of gets rolling and getting a whole bunch of other people involved, it's kind of hard for them to keep up scoring wise. I mean, you can get a bucket anytime with KD and Devin Booker, but you know, they relatively only shoot 2 pointers. And if they force threes and having a bad 3 point shooting night, the other team's gonna run a transition, and Nuggets are one of the best teams in transition, and we're getting a whole bunch of points that way as well. Because again, they don't really have any defenders, and now with Chris Paul hurting his hamstring, he's out for the rest of the series. It's going to be kind of hard for just Devin Booker and KD, and maybe even Ayton to try to kind of carry the load for him with no bench help. Um, he's been doing all right, you know what I mean, scoring wise. He's been doing a lot of good scoring stuff, but defensively, he's not really stopping nothing, and he's getting in foul trouble relatively often. And their backup, Bismack Biyombo, doesn't really offer anything offensively, so it's just kind of tough for them. I feel kind of bad, but not really, because the Nuggets, we've earned this year after year. Last 2 years, we've been so injured in the playoffs, and since the bubble where we got to the Western Conference Finals to play the Lakers, there's a lot of doubt, no media coverage. Nobody gives us a chance to win anything at all. So it's good kind of for me in my heart to go out there and see us beating everybody's presumed favorite to win the West, yet alone the NBA Finals. You know what I mean? So a 2-0 lead going back to Phoenix. We'll see what they can do in Phoenix. Again, they don't have Chris Paul, and we'll see if their game plan, changes since the last time we played. It's been like 3 days. So we played today. If you listen to this after, late in the afternoon, we probably already played. But if it's early in the day, we play them probably at 6 o'clock today, on this beautiful Friday. So we'll see how that goes. High hopes for the Nuggets to close it kind of early, because again, I don't think KD and Devin Booker can play heavy minutes for the whole rest of the series, putting up gigantic numbers to win 4 in a row. So who knows? But I don't think it's gonna happen. I got the Nuggets, of course. In the other series in the Western Conference semifinals is the Warriors and the Lakers. Again, game two is being played right now. The Lakers were able to steal game one in Chase Center out there in San Francisco. And it was mostly an Anthony Davis kind of game. LeBron James didn't really do much. He scored 22 points. I mean, I guess that's not doing a lot, but it was mostly the other players and Anthony Davis kind of holding the Warriors at bay. Anthony Davis proved to be too big. He had 30 points, 20 rebounds, like 5 blocks and shit like that. So I think it's gonna be tough for the Warriors to match his size if Kevin Looney isn't playing to his apex level. Looney still had 20 rebounds, but he wasn't able to offer anything offensively to combat AD's kind of scoring. You know what I mean? So that's what's going to take if you want to beat the Lakers. Because you know what LeBron can give you. Somebody can D up LeBron, but if you don't have a big that can score at the same rate as AD at the same time as getting rebounds and playing defense, it's gonna be trouble. So we'll have to see how the Warriors do to try to change it up in game two. Again, it's happening right now. And before the game, they said Kevin Looney was sick and couldn't really he was really, really sick and could barely play, so they're not gonna give him a lot of minutes. So that's their only other big on the team, really, that can actually stop or slow down Anthony Davis. So hopefully the Warriors slow down Anthony Davis or put a lot of pressure on him to where he has to work for those points, and maybe he won't be on so much, on so well this game and get him a million points. But at the same time, you have to stop the other players on the team because if you don't, they're going to be able to give you buckets and they're going to give them life. They still 2 games in San Francisco. I don't know, man. It might be murder she wrote for the Warriors, but I do have confidence that they'll at least win one of the games on their home court, and all they have to do is win one in LA. The series is probably gonna go 6 or 7 games. I'm not ready to see, I'm not ready to say who's gonna win yet because I really don't know. But I rather play the Lakers just because the Warriors shooting I know is gonna give Denver hell if we beat the Phoenix Suns and move on. So I rather definitely play the Lakers than the Warriors. But the series, I don't know, man. Both these teams could play hot one day and play cold the next day. So it's kind of hard for me to predict who's actually going to win this series. But if I was to pick one that I would want to play next round, if we moved on past the Phoenix Suns, it would be the Lakers. Even though that size, we had a couple players that can match up with AD. LeBron would be a problem, but we'll see what happens, man. In Western Conference Finals rematch from the bubble, that'll be a good look. So I'm looking forward to that. On the Eastern side, we have the Celtics actually winning a game against the 76ers, so they even the series 1-1. The first game, Joel Embiid was out with the LCL sprain, and James Harden scored 45 points to have the Celtics. To beat the Celtics, I think in Boston too. So it was a really bad look for the Celtics at the time. Yeah, they gave up a lot of points to the others. You know what I mean? Tyrese Maxey stepped up, and of course James Harden had that 45 in the first game. So it kind of looked bleak for the Celtics. I don't know. Maybe they took it easy because they thought without Joel Embiid it was going to be an easy cakewalk kind of game. But yeah, towards the end of the game, it was close, but the Sixers were able to steal a win in Boston. But the second game, Joel Embiid came back after winning his MVP. Oh my goodness, I don't even want to get into that really because I feel like this season was the kind of worst season I've ever seen in the NBA. To try to like smear campaign the opponents for one person to win. It's kind of crazy. It became like a political debate type of shit. So we were voting for a president or some shit like that. How weird it was, and I don't really like how the Sixers fans kind of got at Jokic for just competing with Embiid for the MVP. I don't really like the criteria that they based on by giving it to him. But well, I mean, he deserved it. He's a great player. I'm not gonna say he's not great, but I don't know. I just seen a lot of complaining coming from that fan base and from him, and a lot of mess talk that he does, and a lot of antics that he shows. I mean, he deserves it. He don't get me wrong, and I'm happy that he got it. But if you look back the road to getting it, it wasn't so, I don't know the word I'm looking for. Not to, I don't know, whine and cry and then not show up and play Jokic, talk mess about Jokic behind his back, but not want to come and play him, not even show up at the stadium. And then you get hurt and not able to help your team in the playoffs. And then when you do come back in the playoffs for game 2, you get beat by almost 30, only able to put up 15 points. And I don't know, man. I think you only played because you did win the MVP and kind of wanted to show that, I'm MVP. I'm out here, get that praise and that adulation. Well, I guess you're not going to get all that adulation in Boston. But when you get back into, Philadelphia, everybody's going to be hella on him because he won that MVP. Think it's like the 4th MVP won by the Philadelphia 76er, but it's been a while since one won. So again, congratulations to Joel Embiid. I'm not gonna sit on here and talk mess about him. But anyways, he did come back. And the game wasn't really close. Celtics in the third quarter started hitting a bunch of threes and kind of ran away with the game, just kind of giving them self-confidence. And this show also showing Philadelphia that they don't care if Embiid is back. The first game was a fluke. We was going through the motions, and we here to win. Because I was thinking, man, if the Celtics blow this series, I feel like the Eastern Conference, whoever, man, yeah, if the Celtics blew that series to the Sixers, I feel like whoever wins this series for between Boston and Philadelphia is going to win the East because I don't think the Miami Heat or the New York Knicks can beat either one of those teams. So yeah, so this series it matters a lot. So I feel like the Celtics need to get their feet out the mud and end up playing because they're deep. I feel like they're really deep and they're on a revenge mission to try to win the championship after losing last year to Golden State. And then their coach getting fired and proving that they're still good enough to make it to the finals without the coach. Joe, I forgot his first name. So Mazzulla is out there doing his thing and stepping in for Ime Udoka, who I think got the Houston job now. But yeah, It's going to be an interesting series now that it's 1-1 again. We'll see what happens when they get back to Philadelphia. But Embiid didn't look right necessarily yet. I don't know, maybe it was a mistake to actually play him this game. Maybe it's good to still get him conditioned to actually play when he gets to Philadelphia, so he's not getting his conditioning back at Philadelphia when they need him the most, playing in front of the fans after getting that MVP trophy in front of them. So he wants to be at his apex there. So maybe getting this open run and getting his win back was a good idea for this one, even though they got beat real bad. But that series is still 1-1. It's going to be a long series, probably, but I still got the Celtics coming out of it. Miami and the Knicks. The Knicks actually bounced back to win a game at home. The first game they lost due to heroics of Jimmy Butler again. Playoff Jimmy's in full effect, but he did end up rolling his ankle at the end of that game. So after they stole that game one, the second game wasn't as easy for the Miami Heat to actually go out there and steal because Jimmy Butler was hurt, and it caused a lot of the other players on the team to actually step up and try to, replace those minutes and those points that Jimmy Butler provided. Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, some of the others on the team, of course, because Tyler Hero and my guy Victor Oladipo also got hurt. So Duncan Robinson, they have a bunch of guys on the bench that have to come out there. Kevin Love, to show out in the absence of Jimmy Butler because they don't have and Bam Adebayo, of course, needs to be playing at a higher level as well. But to show that they really do have some fight behind Jimmy Butler, and it's not just Jimmy Butler carrying the 8 seed to through this fairy tale winning streak. But yeah, the Knicks, though, were able to put it together and take advantage of Jimmy Butler being out and actually get that game back in New York. So it's going back to Miami 1-1. I think Miami will sneak out that that victory, and then the Celtics will smack Miami. But we'll see if the Knicks can do it. The Knicks fans are behind them all the way. That win actually, the Knicks fans are in high spirits. So for them to lose that second game at home would be terrible for that series. And for them to going to Miami 1-1, all they need to do is steal another game there, and steal a game there, and they'll be back on track. But we'll see how that goes. But I do have Miami moving on once Jimmy Butler. I don't know, man. If Jimmy Butler doesn't get back soon, because you twist the ankle, I don't know how fast you get back. But if Jimmy Butler doesn't come back, yeah, the Knicks are going to toast him. But if he does come back relatively healthy, I think Jimmy Butler has the type of game to him single-handedly can control that game and get them out of that series if he's healthy, though. But that's it for the playoffs. Again, of course, I got the Nuggets making it out of round two, beating the Suns. I guess, the Lakers making it out of round two, beating the Warriors. And then I got the Celtics beating the Sixers and making it out of round two. And I got the Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat beating the Knicks to make it out of round two. So as we get closer, I'm going to still weekly give you guys updates on what the series are. I'm sure I'll be reporting before these series are over. But my predictions probably aren't going to change, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm here with it, and I know who I'm rooting for, secretly. And there's no hate. It's just who I think is going to win, who I think is going to come out. And also, I don't really want the Warriors to win back to back, and I'm not a Warriors fan. So, the Nuggets have never been to the finals before, so that's something I want to happen. And I just want it for Jokic, man, to win Finals MVP and have to and be able to solidify his game. And everybody's just talking so much shit about him. And especially for him not winning MVP, everybody's talking shit. So for him to win, that guy over there is who I'm talking about. For him to win Finals MVP would be pretty dope and would be a slap in the face to all the haters out there. But staying on the NBA, Dillon Brooks, I know you guys been hearing a lot about this. Dillon Brooks and Memphis Grizzlies, they're parting ways. A message came out from Shams Charania, the guy that always gives all the updates on the NBA and stuff like that. And sometimes, for some reason, I don't know why he'd be doing the NFL draft too and giving out the picks before they actually say it on TV. He'd be out doing his stuff sometimes. But Shams said that the Grizzlies aren't going to sign him back under any circumstances, which means kind of sounds like they're using him as a scapegoat for how the season ended. I mean, I know he was talking mess to LeBron, but that was in the second round, or that was the first round. But it was still kind of early in the playoffs. The whole season he was there. He was doing the whole thing during the season, and nobody said anything. While John Morant was getting in trouble and being out, he was a part of the team, being the guy that kind of like spoke out for the team and let people know that the Grizzlies aren't going to go anywhere just because Ja's out. They're going to hold it down for Ja and still perform, and they did. Again, I was a Nuggets fan. I am a Nuggets fan, but I was watching the Grizzlies all season, making sure they didn't catch us because they got us close to like 2.5 games behind us. You know what I mean? Even when Ja was out, even when some of the players were benched, the Grizzlies would still find ways to win, which was interesting to me when they got to the playoffs and played the Lakers. It didn't seem that way at all. It just seems like their offense was broken. They did miss a couple of their bigs, Brandon Clark and Rudy Gobert. What's the other dude's name? His name is don't let that name slip my mind. Last episode I had a whole bunch of brain farts and didn't know these names, but now it's just definitely gonna uh anyways, you know who I'm talking about, the New Zealand brother out there playing for the Memphis who was hurt all season. Didn't really get a chance to provide, and he's like one of the best offensive rebounding bigs. So for them not to really get a chance to have those players, I don't know. I think they really talk too much for their own good. If they're a little more humble and less braggadocious, I think they would have got well received by the league. But now it's kind of like, damn, these guys think they're the shit. We got to show them they're not, especially with the comments of Josh saying they're good in the West. Nobody in the West can beat them. That kind of had me messed up all season. So I know everybody in the league was like, all right, we'll see. But
it's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to Unitas. It's the best of bias. Best of bias. Yeah, it's the best of bias.